How's it going? Kevin Cleary here with another nice video for you. And my voice is messed up, so I've just got a bit of a cold. So that's if I sound like a different person, that's the reason. It's not that a twin brother with a different voice is on camera today. I want to put this video together, and I've been wanting to do it for a while because this blade is really one of my favorite knives. Really cool. Granted, it's probably got limited usefulness, but also I think this is a blade that would appeal to a lot of people that maybe aren't knife people. Maybe you think, yeah, I'd like to carry a knife, but none of those big stuff that Kevin's always showing on there. This blade is really cool, high-end materials, tons of style, really awesome knife to have in your pocket. It is the Boker Anti-MC, high-end materials, ceramic blade with a titanium handle, super sharp, super light, only 2.5 ounces. And this handle dimension is not even 1/4 of an inch, so it carries really easily. You don't even know you've got it. Well, I'm giving you those stats anyway. I may as well say it's 7 3/4 inches long with a 3 1/4 inch blade. Very cool knife. Now let's get into some of the other details about it. The blade is a drop point blade with a partial flat grind, super duper sharp. And one of the sharpest knives I own for sure. And that's both a blessing and a curse, and it's not bad to have a sharp knife ever. The sharper the better. But where this blade will fail a little bit is in that as a ceramic blade, it's going to be super hard to resharpen. And in fact, what Boker says is you need to send it back to them for sharpening. That's probably the best bet for most people. There may be 1 or 2 people out there who know someone who have specialized knowledge or tools that can sharpen ceramic, and if that's your situation, that's awesome. Probably most of us will not be in that situation, so you'll have to be getting someone else to sharpen that knife for you. It is razor sharp. It will hold that edge because ceramic is so hard, nothing really else can dull it. And so it's going to hold that edge really well. So it's not like, you know, every 3 weeks you got to send it away. Maybe a couple times in the time you own the knife, you'll have to send it away. The deployment is via thumb studs, and these thumb studs are really cool. They've got this little kind of rubber tip on them, and that rubber tip actually does grip your thumb really nicely. I'll sort of demonstrate here how well that works. It does actually function to help you open the knife, and I always like when, you know, it's great when some knife designer says, let's put something extra on this blade. It's much better though when the something extra actually makes the knife work better. So that's certainly the case. I like the way these thumb studs are put together. They're comfortable. The rubbery end does help you deploy the knife, and it just stays together it just stays on your thumb very nicely because of that kind of sticky rubber on the end there. The handle is of course titanium. Really stylish. Just a simplified handle. Looks really cool. Feels really cool in hand. If there's one drawback, it's the single position pocket clip, and probably we could say that pocket clip may be a little bit long. Not terrible. At least they could have put a spot for it on this side. The bottom, you know, I can sort of see why they didn't. It wouldn't look very good maybe, but anyway, single position pocket clip. So I know that's kind of a deal breaker for some of you. Lockup is very good. About 50% or so. See if you can see that there. About 50% lockup. It does lock up very well, and there's no blade play at all of any kind. And you'd kind of expect that from a knife that's, you know, put together to be kind of a high-end knife, although it's not high-end in terms of cost. The pivot screw is adjustable. This thing is just sort of a decorative bolt cover, I guess. On this side, if you can look under, let's see if I can get it there. There you go. You can kind of see it there now. Under the pocket clip, there is a Torx bit that can adjust the pivot screw there, and it is all Torx bit construction. So you could pretty easily take this knife apart and, you know, clean up the washers or do any kind of maintenance or oiling or anything else you need to do with it. So, one last thing about the handle. There is a lanyard hole, and it's a sufficient size to allow for a 550 cord, except notice that it's going to be tip down carry all the time, and so your lanyard, if you put one on it, is going to be in the bottom of your pocket all the time, and probably therefore not doing a whole lot. So although it's there and it's certainly functional, I don't know if they should have bothered. They could have just left it off, and I don't think it would have done any disservice to the knife at all. But anyway, it's there. It will hold take 550 cord if you wanted to do that. I don't think it hurts the knife in any way to have that little hole there. And maybe, I know for some guys, they just put a lanyard on every knife no matter what, and so it is there and possible. Overall, this knife is just a really classy knife. You know, it's high-end materials, it's very simple, very smooth, very modern looking. Definitely a lot of cool factor on this blade. Now, I will say, if you're looking for, you know, a knife to carry to work with you, to use all the time, this probably isn't the blade for you, because if you do put, you know, any kind of torsional force on that blade, you could break it. And of course, if you drop it on, you know, concrete or any kind of hard surface, it may break. So it's a really cool knife, really light, really easy to carry, but it does have some limitations that we need to be aware of. I think I've said before, this is about the only knife I own that if I take it out to use it, people who are not interested in knives will say, wow, what is that? Oh, can I see it? What's it made out of? That's a really cool blade. And so it's kind of cool having a knife that even non-knife people recognize as pretty stinking cool. So if you're interested in this knife because of that sort of coolness factor, that high-end, different materials, if you want to just be a little bit different, this knife will not disappoint you. Of course, I could see this used for a person who works in an office and, you know, is kind of into high-tech stuff, and, you know, you've got a computer there, you've got a tablet and other things. This kind of fits in with that motif, doesn't it? You know, the titanium frame, the ceramic blade, and so just a really cool knife. Definitely one of the coolest knives I own. If I had to make a list of like my 5 coolest blades, this would definitely be on it. Very easy to carry, and I actually get this gets a lot of pocket time, because anytime I'm dressed up, anytime I'm going out with any kind of slightly more dressy attire, I usually carry this blade. I have one other blade that sort of works, but not ideal. This one is just perfect for that sort of, you know, kind of going to church, going to a wedding, going out to a fancy dinner type of blade. This works really, really well. So if that's your interest, then this definitely would serve you well. I'm going to add this one last thing that is maybe a bit of a challenge. I would suggest this as a secondary blade. If you don't have any other knives and you don't carry a knife, this is probably not a good first choice, because if you're carrying with you all the time, you're bound to try and do something with it that might break it. If you already have a knife and you'd like a knife that you could switch that one out for to go out on dates or go to church or whatever, perfect blade, very cool, very functional, and very, very sharp. So I've got to say, I recommend this knife as a light use gentleman's folder, and would not recommend taking it outside of that sort of purpose that it's designed for. There you go. That's my take on the Boker Anti-MC. Really cool knife. I really like having this as part of my collection, and I would suggest you probably would too, so long as you understand its limitations.